morning, all. Good morning to our Heavenly Parent, Holy Community, Oceania, Hundoke, together with Reverend Yutaki Yamada. Today is Tuesday, the 8th of March, or the 6th of February in the 10th year of Chongyalguk. Let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parent and true parents, Shariat, Kyombe, Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가족멘세 6. 전일국 주인, 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 전을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 6. Our family, the owner of Chongyalguk, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the Heavenly Parent and true parents, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessing to our community by centering on true love. I'd like to ask Iris if she could offer the opening prayer, please.
Join in prayer. Let us all pray. Dear Heavenly Parent, our true parents, thank you for the beautiful morning, for the good night's sleep that you have given to us. And as we start our day, Heavenly Parent, we would like to nourish our spirits and ourselves, our hearts, with your words so that we can be internally strong and we can understand more of your will, Heavenly Parents, of what you want us to do, to think, and to the words that we will utter, Heavenly Parents, will always be in accordance with you as our parent. We pray that our true mother, we pray for her good health, and we know she is in such an easy situation or feeling, Heavenly Parents, because of the crisis happening in the world right now, Heavenly Parent. We want to do something that can comfort your heart, can comfort our two parents' heart. May our morning devotion, our Jongsong, and our filial piety, Heavenly Parents, can somehow give hope, give light, Heavenly Parents, to this chaos, Heavenly Parent. Also, we can foresee, we can feel, Heavenly Parents, that what our two parents have envisioned or have speak towards the world, Heavenly Parents, really now taking place, and we have to be ready, Heavenly Parents, for it. As the members before were ready to forgive, love, and unite, we should spearhead, Heavenly Parents, the call to forgive, love, and unite, so that your children can be one again centered on you, Heavenly Parent, with our deep hearts, and in the name of all the Central family, and in our name, beloved Iris, would like to offer this prayer.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and welcome. And let's give a warm welcome to Reverend Yutaka as he shares with us this morning.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining this morning Fundoke. Every day, every moment, the new history is created in the world level, in the providence, our human relationship, or family relationship. There are many kinds of things, but each moment is really one page of our history, and there is really special meaning behind of all those things. So always let's see our motivation and our central point of our heart and really let's go forward. So today also on new start, let's offer the sincere devotion and heart to our heavenly parents and true parents. Yesterday through the open session time, there are several many sharing or content. So thank you for your sharing and many also suggestion. Later, maybe Reverend John will explain about at least some kind of guideline. But anyway, during the open session time or breakout session time, if we can focus more to some God's word or realization or providence or some experience in our life or some sharing of our activities, even happiness, appreciation, if we can focus the artistic things, actually really good. And of course, that we cannot separate about the world situation because we are living in the world situation. So this is also important. So if when you have a sharing, maybe if you can arrange a time at least 3 minutes or 5 minutes, then really many people can share together. So when we have a breakout session, when we have open session time, we are as the community, really let's sync each other and really share the time well and create some really beautiful opportunity. So we can develop together. So please share your opinion always, suggest, and let's create a beautiful place for our community. So anyway, thank you. You are always your sharing and your suggestion. And today we will have fourth PCLC online fellowship. So the heaven's will and really True Mother's wish toward Christianity is really big. During the victory celebration time, True Mother mentioned about China, Russia, Europe, and Christianity, and those heaven's mission and heaven's expectation. So in order to fulfill the heaven's will, in order to create the one ideal world centering on heavenly parents, each of us, each of nation have to fulfill the responsibility or portion of responsibility, especially our nation and the region of Oceania. Many nations is the Christian nation or Christian-based nations. That meaning is that those nations are created by God, called by God, and those nations already have some kind of a will of God. So maybe, or maybe the head of states or citizen of that nation could not recognize the meaning of the nation by called by God, but especially or surely there is God's will and there is God's providence or hope there. That's why always we have to approach continuously, pray and seek the hope and find a way. Today, PCLC also, in order to create the beautiful spiritual foundation, I wish you to join together and their support together. Then we can create the foundation and atmosphere and we can connect to the next step. So really let's create and develop those beautiful moments. And today, before going to the Fundok Wars, the World Summit recap video was given just 2 days ago. So maybe, of course, you attended the World Summit that time, but this video just 8 minutes. So I hope we can watch together. And through watching this video, we can think again about World Summit. And also, let's think that how we can use this video to another person, how we can share this video to another brothers and sisters, relative, witness, or our guest. So if you have this kind of imagination and watch this video, maybe you can feel some inspiration. I want to give this video to this person. I want to show this video to this person. I want to send this video to this person. That's why please think, pray, and also watch together. So now is the video time. So Reverend John, please play.
Global leaders recently came together in Seoul during World Summit 2022 for peace on the Korean Peninsula, an annual summit calling for an end to the Cold War's last remaining division and the reunification of the Korean Peninsula.
존경하는 지도자 여러분, 한 방울의 물들이 모여 대를 이루듯 이러한 평화와 통일의 여정들을 통해 그동안 인연된 수많은 정상급 지도자들을 모시고 오늘부터 2월 14일까지 한반도 평화 서밋을 개최하게 되었습니다.
The summit's host, Universal Peace Federation co-founder Dr. Hak Jahan Moon and co-chairs Cambodia Prime Minister Hun Sen and former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon joined some 85 world leaders representing more than 70 nations who addressed millions of people participating virtually throughout the world.
나와 하나 되는 남과 북이 형제가 되는 자리에서 세계 평화, 통일이 우리 시대에 당대에 이루어질 수 있습니다.
The in-person summit ran from February 11th to the 13th following COVID-19 pandemic guidelines. Using groundbreaking, state-of-the-art virtual technology, the program aired from 3,500 media outlets worldwide, with leaders engaging 157 countries with diplomatic ties to North and South Korea.
What we learned through this challenging time in my country and around the planet is that there's nothing that's impossible when nations work together for the common good. That said, the dream of a united Korea is possible.
Peace on Korean Peninsula has a symbolic meaning for all of us because Cold War divided East Germany, West Germany, South Yemen, North Yemen, South Vietnam, North Vietnam. All the other nations reunited again. Today we have one Germany, one Yemen, one Vietnam. But Cold War is continuing only on Korean Peninsula. It is now time for a new era on Korean Peninsula.
We are all for peace. The question is, what are we prepared to do in order to make it possible?
Many world leaders spoke to their own nation's history of peace building, including Senegal President Macky Sall, who is chairman of the African Union.
Elle ne s'offre pas comme une évidence par elle-même. Elle se cultive dans le jardin du courage, de la confiance et du dialogue.
There is much stronger power than defense and diplomatic power. That is human relationship. We could call this sort of human relationships as peace power. Let's push forward with this peace power.
Speakers highlighted challenges to peace like resistance to denuclearization, foreign troops in South Korea, strained relations in the Asia-Pacific region, and core Korean differences in leadership and values.
The human race will move forward to safety, to prosperity, and to freedom only if good people take the time, show the courage, and get involved.
The first summit with Kim Jong-un in June 2018 appeared to build on the sense of goodwill that negotiations between the South and North had achieved. But words are one thing, real progress is quite another.
Summit speakers offered a range of solutions, including the encouragement of new friendships with the North Korean people through trade, tourism, and cultural exchanges.
Probably the next most exciting country in the world is going to be Korea. When we open the 38th parallel, there's going to be enormous change and excitement here.
I especially want to thank Dr. Hak Jahan Moon for her outstanding commitment to the cause of peace. Please join me in working, striving, and praying for a Korea that is safe, prosperous, flourishing, united, and finally at peace.
We need collectively, all of us, to come together to champion the human rights of the people in North Korea. And you know what? We can do that peacefully, using every diplomatic channel available. A unified Korea would show the world that anything is possible.
The summit, spearheaded by Dr. Moon and her late husband, Reverend Sun Myung Moon's vision of reunifying their homeland, has drawn the support of key leaders throughout the world and virtual audiences participating in numerous countries. The summit also featured the Sunhawk Peace Prize ceremony, which honored Dane Professor Sarah Gilbert of Oxford University and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, as the 2022 laureates for their contributions during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I had the great privilege to work with many experts to make the vaccine widely available as fast as we could. It is now in use in at least 170 countries, and over 2.5 billion doses have been produced. We must increase the number of manufacturing facilities around the world as part of ensuring a more equitable supply of vaccines in the future.
Making the world better for future generations is a shared goal, and I'd like to commend Dr. Hak Ja Moon for your tireless work turning this ambition into a reality.
Cambodia Prime Minister Hun Sen received the Founders Award for his support and leadership in promoting peace in Southeast Asia. He said North and South Korea need to swiftly conclude a peace treaty, noting his country's own history of division that ended 20 years ago thanks to what he called the best choice of dialogue, stating, "We cannot choose war to end war." Dr. Moon launched the Sunhawk Peace Prize in 2013 to honor the legacy of her husband. The biennial award recognizes laureates for their extraordinary service to global peace in sustainable human development, conflict resolution, or ecological conservation. Political, civic, and faith leaders all expressed their support of Dr. Moon and UPF's dedicated efforts toward reunifying the Korean Peninsula.
I commend Dr. Hak Ja Moon, the founder of UPF, and her team for their continuous advocacy for sustainable peace in the world.
The work of the UPF is quite meaningful because through this robust platform, we can lay the initial groundwork that allows the path to peace.
Leaders convened the final day, sharing more global encouragement, advice, and prayers for the advancement of peace and unity on the peninsula and throughout the world.
We know that true peace can only fully be achieved with faith. And I pray that our efforts will have great achievement and we will see the reunification as one Korean people.
Lo que para nosotros parece un imposible, para Dios es posible. La oración sigue siendo el mejor arma que tenemos para que vuelva la paz entre las Coreas, en todo el mundo.
Leaders emphasized the importance of international cooperation and focusing on God to usher in a new era of peace. World Summit 2022 concluded with a virtual 1 million person rally for peace, with 12 simultaneous live rally events happening throughout South Korea, which streamed to the world, ensuring Korea's voting public knows the international community is behind them. The 2022 South Korea presidential election on March 9th is expected to be the tightest race in 20 years. You can learn more and get involved with World Summit 2022 by registering online.
So how was this video? It was good? Yes. So really we can see the world leader gathered together for peace and share the message together with our true mother. So they are really strongly stand. And this was created by the IMAP group. So every time if we keep this one in our cell phone, our notebook, and every time we can show to the peoples. So there are many kind of document or material. So not only this one, continuously new material is coming. So let's keep always in even one thing, if we can share to another person, this is really the good input and good moment for those our brothers and sisters. So let's do this one. So today, instead of True Mother's Anthology and Jeonsongyeon, I want to share the True Mother's message, which were given on March 2nd in front of Korean leaders. So this message, I could not get the English official translation, so I just translated. So when you read this one, please consider this point of the translation. So this is the March 2nd, it's just 1 week ago. And this is some summary. So I want to share this one. Just a minute. Okay. Planning and strategies to create an environmental sphere around the completion of the providence of heaven are necessary. Therefore, I have divided the Korean nation into 5 districts in order to consecrate them before heaven more effectively in the pursuit of the heavenly unified Korea. It means that 5 people working together will have a greater effect than 1 person. Isn't that right? Now is the last time these people can fulfill their responsibilities before heaven. So after World Summit, Mother is giving those messages for preparing the presidential election of Korea. So Mother divided Korean nation as the 5 sub-regions, and Mother encouraged them to cooperate together in order to fulfill the unification of North and South Korea. So Mother is mentioning those messages is not only for Korean people or a Korean peninsula, and this is also for ourselves. In order to fulfill that, we need to make a clear plan, clear goal, clear strategy, and create the environment. This is really needed. Yesterday, March 1st, President Moon said some good things that are praiseworthy. We must solve problems through dialogue, which is a correct statement. However, I have said many times that we cannot solve problems with something human and human-centered. Over the presidential election, who will follow the will of heaven and lead this nation as a responsible nation before heaven? You all have to make a firm decision on whether to extend it for 5 more years or move it up. Do you understand? So March 1st is actually the celebration or some holiday in Korea for the Independence Day, independence movement. That's why every year, the March 1st, the Korean president give the statement. So that time President Moon also gave the statement, and Mother is talking about these things. So as the head of states, as the president, what kind of attitude, what kind of thinking do they have, or should they have? And Mother mentioned that not centered on the human thinking or humanistic things. Mother said over the presidential election, who will follow the will of heaven and lead this nation as a responsible nation before heaven. Leaders' influence is really strong. Whoever the leader is, whether good or not, this leader's influence is giving to the future of the nation and future of the people. That's why in each election time, especially in Korea, the president term is 5 years. That's why if this president is not the person who can listen God's will, then the providence will be postponed more 5 years. So Mother is emphasizing this point again. When we saw the current situation in Soviet Union and Ukraine, the US should have boldly assumed responsibility. The presidential candidates all say they want democracy. The United States is the representative nation of that democracy. And the country of the United States was created by the Puritans who were determined to serve heaven and become a people who will attain in preference to heaven. Democracy in this country is not Christianity. You can't have religious unity. Only when this country becomes one with true parents under the Heavenly Parents Holy Community will there be a future. So there are many world situations, many stories, but the democratic nations and also the nation which are created by God, the law of America and law of democratic nation, responsibility is big. So Mother is mentioning, even maybe talking about Korea, the democratic and even Christianity society is not united yet. That's why Mother said, only when this country becomes one with true parents under the Heavenly Parents Holy Community will there be a future. That's why nation which are built by God, there is the same purpose. Our nation of Oceania, also the same things. How we can accept Heavenly Parents, how we can accept true parents and unite together under the Heavenly Parents Holy Community, then there is a future. So when you see your nation, can you see the hope? Can you see the future in your nation? Bright future or dark future? What kind of future you can see in your nations? Bright future or dark future, right? We have to see the hope, and we are the one who will create the hope for our nation. Rather than economic reconstruction in the current state, the person must be a person who can hear the voice of heaven and who can see the future of this nation. With the liberation of Korea, many presidents gathered for democracy in Korea, but they all started out well, but the results were all failures. It is the same now. It means that they are not listening to the voice of heaven, which should be the most important. So what kind of leader do we need? The person must be a person who can hear the voice of heaven and who can see the future of this nation. So Mother's viewpoint is really clear. This is also same for each head of states of the nation. We have to meet the top leaders and we have to really guide to the heaven's will and heaven's way. This nation has a grave, I think great responsibility to fulfill before the world, before heaven. It is man-centered. Communism say that workers and peasants are equal, but in reality, however, there are great class differences in the communist world. What equality is equality? It is all talk. The substance of this is being shown today by the Soviet Union. We must not delay any longer. We are talking about not keeping the heavens waiting for another 5 years. Do you understand? So Mother is talking about the Soviet Union, but I think Mother is mentioning about Russia. So talking about communist, we could see the limitation of communist nation of world. What is equal? How to create the equal society? And also Mother mentioned about democracy. Democratic nation actually also having limitation, right? If we go centered on human beings or human-centered. That's why Mother is mentioned that don't keep the heaven waiting for another 5 years. We have to really invite heavenly parents. We have to really follow and work together with heaven. The God-centered ideology, heavenly parent-centered ideology, this is the Godism. This is the way how we can all unite together of this world. So this is the really mother's serious sharing and really the message. So this is the last slide. All of you have the responsibility to dedicate the Chonil Sanctum on Heaven in 2023 and to create an environmental sphere where Heavenly Parent can direct us on earth. You must all know where heaven is looking. Do you understand? We must not keep Heavenly Parent waiting any longer. More so because humanly my age is not so young. Do you understand? Let's do our best. Let's make sure we fulfill the national legislation. So now we will go toward 2023. So what kind of things can we offer to True Mother toward 2023? And Mother is talking that you must all know where heaven is looking. We have to understand that. And also where Mother is looking at this point also we have to find and we have to understand. Today we watched the World Summit video and also Mother's recent message. Tomorrow there is the presidential election in Korea. Election is actually the moment to decide the future of the nation. That much the head of states is important. So when we see our providence in each nation, we have to do many kinds of things in each field about youth, about family, about women, about also the political society, religious side, and media side. That's why we have to create the foundation well. So Christian foundation, ambassador for peace, and also family movement. So always through this foundation, we have to find a way how our head of states of our nation can hear the voice of God and voice of heaven and can work together with our heavenly parents. So Mother is really sharing the important deep message. So let's really put our chanson and get Mother's message to well, and let's practice and let's really fulfill those will or wish of our heavenly parents and true parents. Today is a new day. Today is PCLC. Let's join together and have a great moment. So once again, thank you very much for everyone to join this morning Fundokkei. Let's have a great time. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you, Reverend Yutaka, for sharing Mother's words, especially at this time during the coming election, and we pray that it really can follow heaven's will. As Reverend Yutaka mentioned at the beginning about our sharing during open sharing, we really have to keep to a more concise timing. So I've been asked to request that everyone stick to like 3 to 5 minutes, and I'll have to monitor and then give an indication like it's getting too long and start to wrap it up, just so that others and everyone get a chance to share. So we'll be doing that from now on, so that we can all get a chance to share. Yesterday was a longer time, so we didn't get a chance for others to share. So we'll continue with the open sharing today, so others can get to share, and also specifically about what Reverend Yutaka was sharing, his translation of Mother's words just recently, a couple of weeks, because the time is getting desperate for the world to understand about our heavenly parent and true parents. And Mother there for me was really explaining how the world can't focus on human solutions. It just won't work and has never worked. It's only caused people to go further into darkness and further into selfishness and really imploring the Korean nation to focus on true parents, and that the person elected really is the one that will listen to true mother, because true mother represents our heavenly parent, and only through our heavenly parent is the solution to finding true world peace. And we all have our own opinions on many things, and we all go into tangents, and I always reflect on the idea of vertical alignment and the idea of going off into a tangent. I mean, I taught many years in TAFE, and my students on purpose would get me talking, because I would often elaborate on some experience or some idea and go off into a tangent, and then not do the lesson that I intended. But the students would think, because I didn't get a chance to finish the lesson, then that section won't get tested. But I would always remind them, even though you get me to go off into a tangent, when it comes to doing the test, we still have to stick to this content that has to be understood, and then I test it. So the way in teaching in TAFE was always a bar. They had to breach the bar or above it, and then they could get a good mark. And in a way, that's the thing with Heavenly Parent. There's a standard that's set, and it doesn't drop, or it's set. We have to reach it or go above it to really fulfill. So even though we might go off into tangents, and I did many times, we always have to come back, and Mother's reminding us we have to come back to God. We have to come back to leadership that is God-centered. And so this is a really desperate time for Korea, and we hope that this election that comes really has the conditions made so that heaven's will is carried out. So there are just some of my thoughts and reflections as Reverend Yutaka was sharing. So thank you, and I can see Greg Hansen had his hand up, so go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much. Yeah, just a short little testimony. Like when I saw the World Summit a week ago, there was a 40-minute sort of summary of the World Summit I saw, and I was so moved. Like I cried like quite a few times, because like in 2020 I was wanting to see the 7 nations sort of restored, like that I was hoping, but I didn't really see that. I know that Mother did a lot of great work in Africa, but I couldn't really see the 7 restored nations. But seeing the World Summit, I was really moved that now we have a substantial foundation for Cheongho-guk, and I was so grateful and moved. And as concerning our situation now, like Iris's prayer this morning was really nice, and explaining or expressing like True Mother's feeling towards the war situation in Europe, that True Mother must be really sorry, as we all are, very hurt that this kind of bloodshed is taking place, and that the answer, as came through also through the World Summit, was like through dialogue and reconciliation, and creating a war against war is not the real solution. So we have to find, as was expressed yesterday as well, that we have to find the heavenly solution. We have to find the way that God, God views that situation and see us as a family, and how, we can bring this to a calm and reconciliation situation. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Go ahead, Chris, you got your hand up.
Good morning, everyone. Just brought to mind when I first joined the movement, and we taught history, and Moses killed the Egyptian, and then later on, after a few years, Father said, well, Moses shouldn't have done that. He didn't have to do that. And that really shook my faith in the principle, because I thought we were learning that that was God's will, but the principle didn't actually say that. It said that that could be accepted because of other conditions, but it wasn't the best way. And I know we all may disagree about what's happening in the world with conflicts, but even if the conflict that is happening has good motivation, which a lot of people do believe, I think will eventuate, there is a better way. And that's what Mother's saying, that this, even though we want to rid the world of evil, we can do it without this kind of conflict. So that parallel just came up in my mind as Greg was speaking. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Jacinta, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I also felt from what Doug said yesterday that even though US is in a position, it's not a wonderful, able, it's not. It's like the feeling is because of this war. Nobody's righteous. So we all, it just occurred to me now that, not just now, sorry, but the Mother's insistence on God being the way, speaking through her can be the way to, or is the way to solve the problem, is really real. And I hope that this is getting through to the Korean people, because they're going to be really put on the spot through the elections, and yeah, and we had a women's meeting. It's International Women's Day today, by the way. We had a women's meeting the other day, and it was became very clear that even the most simple prayer and meditation if it's done by a group of people, can have a massive effect on the world. And it's been scientifically proven that this prayer and the meditation that people do is changing the world. And that's what we want to do. So we really focus on Korea and helping the people there realize, as well as ourselves, of course. Yeah. So I feel more strengthened in that faith now. Yeah.
Thank you, Jacinta. Thank you. Randall, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi. Gee. Here we go. This is what I'm doing, but got the camera for so I can use it as a mirror. Right. There was some comments about the Yugoslavia-Russia happening, and this was coming straight after we were talking about North Korea, unification between North and South Korea. And I'm thinking that North Korea may be looking at the pushes for unification with them the way that Yugoslavia is seeing the, all the attention coming in there, which they didn't ask for. And North Korea needs to see that there is respect for them before they would, really welcome it. And that's the thing in Yugoslavia as well. I mean, if you
I think you mean Ukraine.
Sorry, what did I say? Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Ukraine. Yeah, the Ukraine. Basically, with the Ukraine, they are, it's like the second biggest nation in Europe, land-wise. It's got so many different resources. It's got access to the Black Sea. It's got a lot of different advantages of natural resources and location there. And so, of course, you know, there should be a great desire for a mutual respect, interrelationship for, you know, common prosperity between those and the neighbors that want to, you know, have a unity with them. But the way to come in there is, you know, that they've been doing is showing great disrespect. And for North Korea, what is the respect that they are seeing that people have for them? It's almost as though, no, we want to join with you, but we want to change you completely. We don't respect, we don't, you know, think that you're any good. And so we want to change all these things. And if my neighbor says, oh, let's knock down the fence and let's be united, but you got to change a lot, you got to change everything and become like me, then there's no reason I would want to knock down the fence. So with North Korea, thinking from North Korea's point of view, what is it that you guys that want unification with me really respect about me? It's like when you know, Father is saying, if you want to come up with a point that you want to change with a leader, if you want to complain about a leader, first come up with 10 compliments before you come up with the one point, with the one complaint. So if we want to unite with North Korea, can we come up with 10 compliments, 10 things that are really good about it? And if we can do that, then the North Koreans can say, hey, you really do respect us. I can see that respect coming through now. And a lot of the people that are lining up to talk to North Korea, they don't look like Koreans. I mean, they are Koreans, they are South Koreans, but they dress like Americans. And this is one thing with North Korea. They are really connected with the Korean culture. They even keep the ancient name from before the Japanese occupation, Chosun, instead of Korea, for their nation. And so there's a lot of different respect with the clothing, with music, with the language, and the history as well. There's a lot of history in North Korea as well, which has kept the different things. They've kept some of the Buddhist monasteries in the hills, you know, and this is a communist country that doesn't really respect religion. And yet they've kept these traditional Buddhist or Confucius type of temples around the place. We have to really look at it from, you know, what's the good thing about North Korea? What do we want to keep? What do we want the North Koreans to teach the South Koreans that have lost their focus on the heavenly type of tradition that was the reason why God chose Korea? Anyway, just a few thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. Thank you. Yes, Kim, go ahead.
Yeah, I just reflect on just Randall's statement there too. I remember one analyst talking about the situation of China, and I think this is something that Doug was alluding to yesterday as well. There's China, since the Cold War, has been surrounded by nuclear weapons aimed at it. So there's a certain level of containment. We always see things in black and white, good and evil and so forth, but the dialogue that's needed, you know, has to show that type of good faith. You know, the island chain, Marshall Islands, whatever, all have missiles, that nuclear weapons, all still pointed at China, and has since the Cold War. So, you know, when you've got a lion or a bear that's feels threatened, then they're going to react. And that's a similar situation perhaps with Russia. With, you know, was there, after the Cold War, was there a need to expand NATO? Now, probably from the viewpoint of those countries that were occupied through by the Soviet Union, they probably felt some sense of disquiet and took the opportunity to want to be aligned with a larger military presence. But still, you know, from Russia's viewpoint, there's that sense of also being, you know, sort of encroached upon. So we have to see things, as I think what Doug was saying was, you know, from two sides of the fence, regardless of who the leader is at the moment. The overall feeling is not just one is good and one is bad. I think this is the essence of Hedwig thinking and Father's thinking, you know, that his greatness in going to speak to Kim Il-sung and embracing Kim Il-sung, and embracing Hun Sen, Mother embracing Hun Sen. You know, there's many things about Hun Sen that can be criticized, but still, you know, you embrace the good and those aspects that can help to bring about a world of peace. And as God's thinking too, whether it's with your neighbor, as Randall said, you know, God's not looking at one side good and one side bad. God is looking for a win-win situation. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone. We've actually come to that time where we can offer our unison prayer, and let's pray that the heaven's will is really realized this time. So I'll just share the screen. Let's pray together. Jew. Thank you, everyone. Let's have a great day and see you all tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Gary this morning.
Hi.
Sorry. Oh, you're saying hello to Jerry.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, Jerry.
Take care, all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, Jerry.